sins of the heart. Ya Allah, save me from the sins of the heart. Ya Allah, save me from the sins of the heart.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayki ya Rasulullah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayki ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurullah. Welcome back to this episode of Sins of the Heart. Let's first listen to a blessing of saying salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The final Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, perform Hajj. Undoubtedly, its reward is greater than participating in 20 ghazawats. And reciting salat upon me one time is equal to that. Subhanallah. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hypocrisy. For an individual to verbally claim that he is a Muslim but deny Islam inside his heart is hypocrisy in faith, nifaq i'tiqadi. And for his tongue to contradict his heart is hypocrisy in action. So two types of hypocrisy. One's nifaq i'tiqadi, which is hypocrisy in belief, that you say you believe in Allah but afterwards you don't, on your own. And the next one, nifaq amali, a hypocrisy in action. So basically, you say something but you don't act upon that yourself. That's hypocrisy in action. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, undoubtedly the hypocrites in their fancy seek to deceive Allah, whereas He will extinguish them whilst making them oblivious, and when they stand up for prayer they do it unwillingly, and for others to see, and they do not remember Allah except a little. In another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, undoubtedly the hypocrites are in the deepest segment of hell, and you will never find any supporter for them. Sadrul Fadil Allama Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Naeemuddin Muradabadi elaborated on this sacred verse in the Khazain al-Irfan. The punishment for a hypocrite is more severe than for an infidel, because the hypocrite would have saved himself from being killed on this earth by Muslim soldiers by pretending to be a Muslim. Subsequently, he would have constantly deceived Muslims and ridiculed Islam. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu anhuma narrated that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, anyone who possesses 4 attributes is a pure hypocrite, while someone who possesses only one of them will possess one attribute of hypocrisy until he abandons it. I.e., the first attribute, when he is entrusted with something, he betrays the trust. When he talks, he lies. When he promises, he breaks promises. When he argues, he swears. And hypocrisy in faith is the worst category of disbelief. On Judgment Day, a hypocrite in faith, nifaq i'tiqadi, will be sentenced to the lowest dungeon of hell for eternity. Hypocrisy in deeds is a major sin, forbidden, haram, and will lead to hell. Sayyidina Imam Muhammad ibn Sirin rahmatullahi ta'ala asked a man how he was feeling, to which the man replied with great despair, how do you think a man who owes somebody 500 silver coins, dirhams, and has a wife and children but no money would feel? Hearing this, the Shaykh rahmatullahi ta'ala returned to his home and came back with 1,000 silver coin dirhams for the man, along with some advice. Pay off your debt with 500 coins and keep the other 500 for your family. After this particular incident, the Shaykh promised himself that he would never inquire about another human being's condition. Hujjat al-Islam Sayyid Muhammad bin Muhammad Ghazali elaborates, Imam Ibn Sirin made his promise because he rahmatullahi ta'ala felt that if he alayhi rahmatullahi wali ever again asked another person how he felt, and that individual responded with disappointing news, after which the Shaykh did not help him, then that would make the Shaykh a hypocrite with regards to his inquiry. And hypocrisy of faith, there's 2 causes for this mainly. The first cause of hypocrisy in faith is ignorance. When a person does not acquire adequate knowledge about faith, as well as obligatory and necessary duties, faraid and wajibat. Then the devil will insert various evil ideas in his mind, and consequently, the person will fall into the fatal disease of hypocrisy in faith. The cure for this is for you to acquire detailed knowledge about beliefs, obligations, necessities. Study in detail the books of Sunni scholars as well as sit in their company. Whenever you are faced with any Islamic inquiry about faith and Sharia, then please refer to a reliable Sunni scholar, Mufti or Dar al-Ifta Ahl Sunnah. For detailed information about the creed of Ahl Sunnah, you will find it extremely resourceful to study part 1 of the incredible book of Bahari Sharia, which is also translation into the English language, along with other parts of the same book for everyday religious verdicts on Islamic law. The author of Bahari Sharia is Sadr Sharia, Badr Tariqa Hazrat Allama Maulana Mufti Muhammad Amjad Ali Azmi alayhi rahmatullahi kavi. The second cause of hypocrisy in faith is the company of heretics. The cure for which is for you to stay well clear from heretics and tell yourself, if I learn that a particular individual is a thief, and that by sitting with him there is a good chance of my wealth being stolen, then certainly I will never want to associate with him. I will at least be extremely cautious around him. Bearing this in mind, heretics are the kind of thieves that can steal my most precious asset, my faith. So then why should I associate with them? Beware, your faith is your most valuable asset. Always keep a distance from the company of such people. Pray to Allah for protection from such evil followers. Sit in the company of people who love and venerate the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba alayhim Rizwan, Ahl al-Bayt and Saints rahimahumullah, and who seek about loving these amazing individuals rather than hating them. Inshallah, the company of such people will cause you to contemplate about safeguarding your faith, along with making you seriously concerned about abstaining from sins and doing good deeds. Inshallah. Causes and cures for hypocrisy in deeds. The first cause of hypocrisy in deeds is ignorance. If a person is unaware of hypocrisy, its signs and harms, then he will catch his fatal disease. The cure for this is for you to acquire knowledge about hypocrisy in deeds and its harms. Think long and hard about them and make efforts to avoid them. Second cause of hypocrisy in deeds is condemnable greed. Sometimes a person is hypocrite due to his greed and desire for a particular thing. You can cure this by contemplating about the harms of greed and tell yourself it is never wise to be a hypocrite in order to attain a short-term material possession. In order to increase your knowledge about the harms of greed, please read the book of Greed, published by Maqsatul Medina, the publication department of Dawat Islam, the non-political global organization of preaching Quran and Sunnah. Third cause of hypocrisy indeed is love for material things. When a person falls in love with this world, then in order to possess his beloved, he sometimes becomes a hypocrite. The cure for which is for you to contemplate and think long and hard about the harms of this fatal disease of worldly love. The disease is a cause for various other sins. In fact, sometimes the fatal malady of falling in love with this materialistic world drives people towards infidelity. Therefore, you should always pray to Allah for salvation from this fatal disease. For example, oh Allah, save me from this disease. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, hypocrisy. We learnt hypocrisy, what is. You have two types of hypocrisy. Nifaq-e itiqadi, nifaq-e amali. Itiqadi is that hypocrisy in belief, that you believe in Allah in front of some people, for example, but when you're on, you actually do not believe in Allah. Hypocrisy in action is that, for example, you preach, you tell people to do things, you tell people to read namaz, but you don't read namaz yourself. This is hypocrisy in action. And this is something which we see in the life of Amir al-Sunnah down the Barakah. He is free from this type of hypocrisy. That when he wants to tell these people, these murideens, something, he first acts upon it himself. He does it himself before he preaches people, before he encourages the ummah to do something, he does that himself. So make this dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps us safe from hypocrisy. Nifaq-e itiqadi, hypocrisy in faith. Nifaq-e amali, hypocrisy in action. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us the ability to understand the Quran, the teachings, and grants us the ability to understand what our faith is, grants us the ability to understand the Aqidah, grants us the ability and grants us death with Iman, grants us death on the path of Ahl Sunnah. And I make this word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us death in the blessed city of Madinah al-Munawwara. Ameen bijahi Nabil Ameen. Till next time, inshallah. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam.
Sins of the heart, Ya Allah, save me from the sins of the heart. Ya Allah, save me from the sins of the heart.